today we are once again going to be going over the absolute best brawlers in the game right now after the update, as well as all of the worst brawlers in the game you don't want to play because you do not want to lose those trophies. So we're going to be ranking them all from worst to first. Leave a comment down below if you guys agree or disagree with this list. Once again, huge thank you to Slash for helping me make this list. He's a pro player. He's OP playing at the highest tiers of the game, so check out his Twitch, check out his Twitter, link in the description. Be sure to use code BT1 in the shop. Now let's get into this. So 47th on the list, once again, the worst brawler in the game goes to Primo. Vámonos! Nothing has changed with him. He still has a very, very short range. It's incredibly tough to get his super. It's just like he's so hindered with that tiny range. It hurts him so much. I honestly don't even know how to buff Primo to make him like super meta relevant. It's a tough time for Primo. And 46th on the list here, we have Bull. It's basically the same thing with Primo. Short range, basically similar super with the run. Bull is good in heist, but aside from that, the range is an issue. And now number 45th on the list here is Shelly. She's actually a huge jump up from these last two because she actually has a lot of versatility and she's very underrated, but she is still can be countered hard and just you stay away from her, you struggle. But she's still a lot better than Primo, a lot better than Bull just because of her crazy versatility, but she's still not great. But keep in mind, like, Brawl Stars is incredibly balanced, so basically any brawlers from this point are usable at some aspect of the game, which is nice. The 44th on the list is Gale. He's really gone downhill since they decreased his jump pad range. It's a toughen out here for the old silly sausage. 43rd on the list is Dynamike. In low trophies, Dynamike's in a pretty good spot because of the amount of damage he deals. However, once you get into the higher tiers of the game, a lot of people are able to dodge his shots, and a lot of brawlers that have speed and quickness like Stu and Max can dodge his shots easily, as well as is just hard to play. Upper echelon tier of players, he could rise the ranks that could dyna jump properly and everything, but for most of us plebs, yes, me and myself included, I'm a dyna noob. I know I use demolition, but he's still really hard to land your shots. That's why he's down here. 42nd on the list here is Frank. Now Frank is above the other tanks for the fact that Poco can really keep him alive. Spoiler alert, Poco is near the top of the list because he's crazy this update, and having over 10,000 HP with Sponge, this is a thick boy, and he's crazy with that super too. Now 41st on the list here is Darryl. Now Darryl can make some crazy role plays, rolling in on the brawlers and everything, but he actually doesn't have a crazy amount of burst damage as some brawlers, so he's got weaknesses, can be used in assassin, but it's just not Darryl's time to shine. 40th on the list here, this is gonna hurt a lot of people's soul, is Edgar. Now Edgar's very good at knockout if you're not a bad Edgar, and at a higher tier level, Edgar is really bad because a lot of players just know keep your distance from him. Really, after his 3 gadgets, you don't gotta worry about him, and that's the thing, once you play Edgar enough, you just know you're usually gonna be all right if you just kind of stay back a little bit. He does hard counter throwers except for tick, but it's tough out here for Edgars in higher trophies unless you're playing showdown or knockout. In the 39th here we have Penny. Penny's an okay mid, but it takes her forever to get her turret. But Slash is making a point here. I'll read his words. Even though we're at number 39, I want to reiterate, all these brawlers going forward are balanced, and even a small buff could put them into the top 15. That means a lot of these brawlers we're going to talk about next, and even the ones a little bit before, they're all in a good spot and, like I said, can be used. So the game is very balanced, but just a lot of brawlers have better advantages, and Penny just takes her forever to get that super. Now 38th here we have Leon. If Knockout and Lone Star were permanent modes, Leon would rise the ranks because you could play those whenever you want. But by the time you're watching this, they actually probably will be removed from the game. So Leon in the other 3v3 modes, he still struggles. Yes, he got some buffs. Just mainly he's still amazing in showdown, but he's not there yet on the 3v3 level. 37th on the list here we have Carl. Yes, the buff helped him a lot and he's a lot more viable, but there's a lot more brawlers now that can counter him and just shred him. Carl's tricky because if you buff him too much, he's going to be dominant, but like I think he's a good spot right now because he's still good. It's just like he's not overwhelming. 36 on the list here, I'm surprised with this one, but we have Brock, which I get because they're just better snipers there now. We have Piper, which is better. We have Belle, which is absurdly better, as well as even Colt tops Brock's nowadays.
Sorry, noob.
35th on the list here we have Bo, and the main reason for Bo, Nani cheese strat. Just kidding. No, it is the maps that have a ton of grass, and being able to have that vision is super helpful. But other than that, he's not crazy. He's got decent damage, but without those grass maps, he would not be this high. 34th on the list, we have Jacky, or she still does have the speed boost, more mainly because there's some maps that can really help her with like the walls, being able to stand behind that and shoot her like insta hit on the other side, as well as Poco being meta helps Jacky a lot as well. 33rd on the list is Lou. Now he's very underrated and he does quite a bit bit of good damage, but it's hard to hit his shots. He's still pretty much relegated to being a great siege brawler. And there's just a lot of other brawlers that outshine him, where it's a lot easier to hit your shots and deal a lot of damage. Now, the mighty have fallen here. 32nd on the list is Mr. P. Now, he can still beat a lot of the brawlers that are like lower beneath him on this list here. But the problem is a lot of the top 10 brawlers in the game, which we'll talk about later, are hard counters to him, and it's a struggle with him right now. 31st on the list is Mortis. You guys remember last list, Mortis was way up there. We'll introduce Stu, and now we have a hard counter for Mortis when Mortis was the hard counter. And the throwers are actually getting some gadgets up their sleeves, aka tick, making it tough on Mortis. Still a solid pick if it's just straight throwers and squish your brawlers that don't have like crazy burst damage, but Mr. P isn't as meta anymore, so he's fallen down a little bit. I'm sorry, Mortis lovers. 30th on the list is Tara. Now, on bushy maps or maps where she can hide and kind of like not reveal herself, she's still solid, and she is very, very good versus tanks, and the super can be game changing, but she still kind of gets outclassed because she has a really slow reload speed, so it impacts her, but she's still a solid brawler. 29th, we're gonna have B here. Again, it kind of falls back similar with Brock, where there's just a lot of better options for snipers now, and with her being limited to how fast her shots come out, she's susceptible to burst damage, which is her downfall. 28th on the list, Nani? We have Nani. Now, in knockout with Bo and Nani cheese, it's crazy. S tier, amazing, but you can't do that every map. And long range maps, Nani's very good, especially with the peep head, but not every map is oriented to long range, and Nani really struggles there. 27th on the list is Pam. Now, like, Pam's right in the middle of the list because she's not bad, but she's not great. Like, she can be solid and played very well, and she can survive and hold her own, but she gets outclassed still, but she's still a solid pick with the thickness. 26th on the list here, we have Bibi with the nerf to batting stance, or whatever her shield star power is. It hurt her a lot with her tank ability, but she still got speed, she's got quickness, can dodge, and a very solid tank, but she's just not as great as she used to be. 25th on the list here, we have Colt, and the reason for this is he's actually very good at countering throwers, which a lot of them are in the meta now, with his gadget being able to easily open up walls and is super easily open up the walls, and once the map gets opened, that is Colt's win condition. Still, it is tough to hit his shots, but he does a crazy amount of damage, so Colt, you're on the up here. 24th on the list here, we have Rosa. On the maps where there's grass and you can survive, she's crazy. That super tanks so much damage, and her gadget, whenever an enemy enters the grass and slows them down, they're basically gobbled up by her. Reason why she's bumped up the list though is because Poco's in the meta, and being able to heal Rosa and all that stuff is nice, but she is on the upper echelons of tanks now because she's got great utility and gadgets and everything. But on open maps or maps where she can't kind of hide and maneuver and everything, she's gonna struggle. 23rd on the list here, we have Rico. Rico with the bounce shots is crazy, and a lot of the maps actually cater to his bounce shots now, so that's why we're rising him up the list a little bit. He is on the higher skill cap and trying to think of where to bounce, when to hit, where to lock off an area. Once you get those down and can bounce those shots properly, Rico is crazy. 22nd on the list here, we have Byron. Now, his range is actually really good, but with the nerfs, he's no longer a great option as like a mid, because Jean has the magic puff heals, Poco's got the heals, so they're just better healers that play mid that are more in meta right now, which is a struggle for Byron because he has that slow tick damage. He's still solid though. So 21st on the list here, we have Sprout. The reason why I dropped a little bit is these Sprout nerfs and a little bit of change in the metas in the brawler that you're seeing. You're seeing more maxes and Pocos, and the speed and the heals make it tough for Sprout to actually get kills, but he's still a solid option in a lot of different areas. You just got to be able to land your shots. 20th on the list here, we have Surge. Welcome back, my friend. With the damage buff to him, he basically three-shot so many brawlers, and with that gadget being so strong, and he's a very good counter to thrower brawlers because he can teleport through a wall, get to them, and you're done. Surge is crazy, and I'm really happy for this. You just got to survive with him. Number 19 on the list here, we have Spike, the high DPS. They gave him his little attack speed back. He is much, much better. At the highest of tiers, it's pretty easy to dodge his shots with the spikes, but that doesn't matter too much here because you're not going to be facing pros every single day, so Spike is great. Now, 18th on the list here, we have Nita. The bear helps her out a lot. Bruce, you're OP, man. With the shield keeping Bruce alive, as well as being able to body block and everything, Nita is a very solid option. She does struggle getting in range of fools, but when she does, is a quick trigger. 17th on the list is Ems. Now, basically, if you can get in range of Ems or any brawlers in her range, she does an insane amount of damage and can slow them and whatever. She's crazy. The issue is once brawlers get outside of her range, she's pretty much useless. There's a lot of long strong brawlers you're going to see right now. She's kind of map dependent, closer range maps, but she's really good dominating the mid range. 16th on the list, we have Colonel Ruffs. He still is really good with being able to power up your teammates, and his star power being able to give a ton of health to your team. So if you're playing with an organized team, Ruffs is still really good. 15th on the list here, we have Jessie. She still has a crazy amount of damage. Her turret's amazing still. She does get outclassed a little bit against other mids, but she's still a very good brawler. 14th on the list here, we have Tick. Most an annoying brawler, and he's a crazy strong brawler. This is by far the most annoying brawler in the game. I kind of want them to nerf it because it's not fun to play against him. Like, why do they even have lose gadget in the game if they have Tick's gadget? It doesn't make any sense. But on maps where there's choke points or a lot of walls and everything, Tick is just a nightmare. So I hate to say it, but Tick, you're really good right now and annoying. Actually, Ben Tick. 13 on the list here, we have Colette. Same thing usually, 2 shots, super, hit him with both times, you're pretty much done. Colette is actually very good in heist, but she's also very good at destroying tanks, and just she gets her super so fast. She's a really good pick right now. 12th on the list here, we have Piper. Piper is a higher skill cap brawler, but with Colonel Ruffs and Mr. P falling out of the meta a little bit, which were her direct counters because of the porters and the sandbags, she can really shine, especially on the long range maps. And if it's not a long range map, you can risk it and pair yourself with like a Colt or something and try and open the map up anyway. It's a sniper's heaven, and that's what she's amazing at. Now, number 11 here, we have 8-Bit. Now, 8-Bit's rising my ranks of brawlers I love to play. And read this line here. 8-Bit is basically the best brawler in the game with his turret up and the second star power. You guys know the star power that gives him the speed and quickness, because he has high health, high damage, the speed, the quickness, the range, and a very useful gadget. However, he doesn't always have that turret up, so that's why we have to drop down below, because without the turret, he slows down and he's not as useful, but he still has crazy damage and the high health is useful. Higher skill cap to hit the shots, but when you can, he shreds. 10th on the list here, we have Amber. Amber just has crazy DPS, and it's auto aim. Basically, you auto aim and you're zoned in and locked on. It can pretty much outduel every single brawler. Amber, you're just crazy. Still, number 9 on the list. A lot of you are gonna be happy for this. It is Crow. Basically, all of the buffs have led to this. The longest slow in the game. When you get slowed by a Crow with that gadget, dude, you're done. You're walking slower than 8-Bit for a long time. As well as with his rework, it's just like everything is combined to make Crow a very viable brawler. Now, he still does have some struggles and he's weak. He's got speed, that slow, everything. I hate to say it, but Crow, you are finally meta and you are good. 8th on the list here, we have Gene. Reason why Gene is rising up again, because he was already good. He got buffed again and got more, like, basically get his super faster again. And that was a while ago, but Mr. P falling out of the meta, Ruffs falling out of the meta, those were his hard counters, and he's able to heal his teammates with magic puffs and that crazy chip damage. Gene, you're a top brawler once again, even though you've always been like good. 7th on the list here, we have Sandy, and it's only because of that amazing Lantern Sandy skin. No, I'm just kidding, but the buffs to his damage, he does a lot of damage. He struggles versus tankier brawlers, but what's really nasty about him is basically that super. You throw it down if you have root sands, blocks off an area, or if you want to heal your teammates. Sandy's very versatile, Sandy's very good, and you can basically shoot around walls whenever you want. Sandy's crazy. 6th on the list here, we actually still have Stu. He has received a couple nerfs, but Stu, he still has a ton of damage, and it's being able to get that super after his one shot. And good players just chain those supers and keep chaining them, can dodge, can basically knock a brawler, keep knocking them back so they can't even attack. Oh, and he's got an amazing gadget with that speed up for an entire team. Stu is still really good. 5th on the list here, we have Max. I'd say for the average player, this is probably a little bit too high, because I personally struggle with hitting Max's shots. But if you are solid at landing shots and everything with her, she's a nightmare. She does a ton of damage. You can dodge shots, you can get speed to your entire team. You notice a common theme here. Speed and quickness is very good in this meta right now. And Max is just, he's absurd if you can hit those shots. 4th on the list here, we have Poco. Poco, oh my goodness. The buffs to him are insane. You can pair him with tank brawlers and just Poco double tank. Oh my gosh. But what's nice about him now is just 2 shots basically, or brawlers that are stacked up, you get your super. Always keep your teammates alive. It's so hard to kill him. It is so hard to kill him. And Poco is just electric right now. Number 3rd on the list here, I'm gonna put the brawler that releases late in May, Squeak. This is preemptive because he's not out in the wild just yet. From everything that I know, Squeak is going to be annoying to face and he's going to be really good. However, he doesn't have crazy range, and that is my issue with him. I asked for Slash's opinion off of what he's seen so far. He's like, oh, he's a chance to be the #1 best brawler in the game and be broken. But we're just going to put him at number 3 for now. And this may be even a little bit too ambitious because, again, I'm worried about that range and that delay of his shots. It feels weird, but once you learn it, it could be good. For now, we have Squeak here. Comment down below. What do you guys think? Where's Squeak going to be? Number 2 on the list here, we have Belle, one of my favorite brawlers. And when I pushed her to 1,000 trophies, I'm like, dude, she's insane. And even when before release, when I played her in the sneak peeks, oh my goodness, man, she's crazy. Too much damage, too much utility. That bounce shot where you can literally cannot be next to your team. She dismantles people that want to be close to your teammates. So she is a really, really good brawler. And she's one of the sole reasons why brawlers that have spawnables are literally dropping down the ranks, because that bounce shot of hers is a nightmare. And she just slaps anything with that damage, dude. Number 1 on this here, we have Barley. Now, I personally would put Belle there, but I gotta digress. He's a top 5 brawler for sure. Barley is just, he's got range and more range and more range and more range on top of that, plus with the heals. Or if you want to slow, or if you just want to control the entire map, throw down a lot of your main attacks with that range. Dude, he's crazy. And he can be played basically anywhere, any map and mode, and that's what this list is looking at. Overall, Barley can be played anywhere. So guys, push your Barleys now before he gets nerfed. Really wasn't great for a long time. Disclaimer, unless you're playing solo showdown, he's not great in solo showdown, but everything else he's solid, so go push him. But that is the list here. Let me know what you guys think of the list. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Again, thank you Slash for making this list. He plays at the highest tiers of the game, so that's where he's getting this info from. Metas are different maybe for your trophy range, but I agree with a lot of this. But before we go, guys, I got one last thing. You guys know Ryan, the OP community manager for Brawl Stars, was leaving for a different position in Supercell. Well, a group of OP Brawl Stars community members are making a goodbye letter just for him. Now, these have some of the best artists in the Brawl Stars community and everything else like that, and they asked me to tell you guys, if you want to be a part of this letter, like have your signature on there or leaving a nice message to him, they're going to be sending this directly to his desk so he can read this. Why not just thank him for all that he's done for us, as well as for what he's done with Brawl Stars? So if you guys want to leave a nice message for Ryan and maybe have your signature on this letter, check the link in the description below as well. You can submit a response, so you can say whatever you want to him, and some of the message will be sent along with that letter directly to Ryan. So if you guys want to check it out, link in the description. Ryan, we love you.